All right. Hello, everyone. We're just going to wait another minute or two for additional attendees to join, and then we'll get started. All right. Good afternoon and welcome. Thank you for joining us for our webinar today. I'm Ashley Limbers, the marketing lead here at Encompass Solutions, and I'm happy to be your moderator for this session. For those of you who are new to Encompass Solutions, let me give you a quick introduction. We're a North Carolina-based ERP consulting and implementation firm with over 25 years in business, and we have a global team of just over 40 staff members. We focus exclusively on serving the manufacturing and distribution industries, delivering solutions that help organizations streamline their operations, overcome challenges, and help drive growth. And as a premier partner of Epicor, we have nearly 2 decades of experience delivering tailored ERP systems. And what truly sets us apart is we are a partner-first mindset. We don't just implement software, we work closely with our clients to ensure their ERP solutions are tailored, optimized, and aligned with their business goals. In today's session, we are focusing on ERP Lifecycle planning, presented by our knowledgeable speaker, Francisco Lopez. Before we dive in, just a few housekeeping notes. This webinar is being recorded, and we'll send a copy of the recording to all the registrants. And if you have any questions during the presentation, please type them into the Q&A box on your Zoom control panel, and we'll answer as many of those as we can during our live Q&A session at the end. And lastly, we'd appreciate it if you could take a minute to fill out the quick survey after today's session. It helps us keep improving these events for you. So let's turn things over to our presenter. Please join me in welcoming Francisco Lopez. Francisco is an experienced ERP project manager working with clients in various industries ranging from transportation, boating, trucking, and railroad, just to name a few. And his knowledge encompasses operations management, process engineering, product design, and value stream mapping, and more. So we're excited to have Francisco with us today. So without further ado, Francisco, I'll go ahead and turn things over to you.
Thank you, Ashley. Much appreciated. Good afternoon, team. Glad to be here. And my name is Francisco Lopez, and I've been working with the Epicor software for the last 18 years in the project management and the business process analysis side of the system. So I know Epicor since the first version that I helped to implement. There was 9.5 back in the day, and then I had the opportunity to learn Vantage even. So I went forward and actually, learn later, an even earlier version of Epicor, right? But hey, we are in 2026, and we are going to be reviewing what's the future for us in the ERP, right? And if you need to make a decision on how to move forward with your ERP. So let me start with a question, right? For the audience to. So how do you know when your ERP has shifted from being a competitive advantage to becoming a business constraint, right? This is what we are going to be reviewing in order for you to make the decision. And I'm assuming that if you are here, that's because this question is already on your mind, right? This is something that you are already thinking about, or at least your board or some of the team members across the company have asked you, hey, is it time for us to look into a new system? What will be the effort, or what are the steps that we need to think about for us to get there, right? Or when is the right time? What is the budget? I mean, there are so many questions around how we will implement an ERP system. But of course, everything always starts if it's a business constraint, right? Is the right system what we currently have ready, for the future? So, let's dive in. So why it's still working isn't always enough, right? Many organizations think our ERP still works, our users know it, we've invested a year into it, or why even change the system? So if your system still works, so then the question is it ready for the future? Is it future proof, right? Is the new features and functions of other software, third party software that integrates with your ERP system, it's enough. So if your if your users are using a system that is already obsolete, yes, they know it. I mean, I knew a lot of programmers back then that knew AS400, right? Just to mention one, if you are old as I am, but we've invested a year into it. Absolutely, you are paying for maintenance. You are paying for customizations, right? You are making it yours. You are going deeper into the system. So is the new system will have all these processes updated already that it will be a native application? Or do we still need to customize that our business is so specific that we need to have our own system, right? And why even change? So business complexity growth, absolutely. So the company could be way bigger than what it used to be when the system was put in place. Customers expect more. The customers are expecting now reports from you. They are expecting for them to access your system and put those orders into the system by themselves, right? They are expecting EDI, right? Electronic data interchange. Cybersecurity is evolving. Is your system hacking proof? Employees expect more modern tools. Absolutely, with the rise of AI, this is becoming now embedded into the modern ERP system. It's just part of it now. And executives want real-time visibility. This is extremely important. The executives would like to go. They want their own dashboards. And this is something, guys, I will be talking, during the conversation, I will be reviewing some of the experiences that I've been having with the multiple customers and the multiple implementations that we've been doing. And I will, of course, I cannot mention names, but I will throw the examples out there of what we are currently looking at in the market. And this is an extremely important one. The executives want real-time visibility. That means that there's no more reports, right? The reports, as soon as you print it, 5 minutes later, it's already outdated. So what it is executive dashboards that they can be updated on minute by minute, or if they want to look at historic trends, yeah, they can use some of the modern tools like business intelligence solutions, right, to analyze trends and back information from your company. But the executives do want real-time visibility. Understanding the ERP lifecycle. So at Encompass, we use this 4 stages for our implementation. We plan and prepare. That means we gather the requirements. We do our business process review, right? We have to understand your business in order to tell you what are the modules that you need according to your assets process and what is the future state that you want as part of your requirements. Then we will focus on the design stage. We will create a proof of concept for you, making sure that what your requirements, we can comply with those requirements, that we can build a system and show you that, hey, this system is right for us, and we can test every process that we have. And of course, if the process does not fit your company, we can customize it in order to make it fit or make it available. If you cannot change that process, then we will make it for you. Then we will get your data, right? We will upload that data through the DMT process, and we will validate all the processes now with a complete testing environment. That means you are going to extract the data from your legacy system, and we are going to upload into the new system and test it out until our expected results are there, right? And then we will deploy the system. Usually, all this process takes approximately between 8 months to a year. It's an ERP implementation. Of course, this is a full implementation where we are going from one ERP system into another. Now, an upgrade, that is something different. There are some users that they just have Epicor 9.5 with an old Progress database, and they just want to go into the new SQL environment that we have for Epicor Kinetic, right? Every ERP reaches maturity, absolutely. Organizations modernize technology before technical limitation become business limitations. You don't want to say in the future, "Hey, my ERP doesn't work anymore," right? You don't want to get to that level, which it actually happens. There is currently a project that I'm working on where they are pretty much going to lose their maintenance December 31st. So now everybody's scrambled to get this implementation done in time, so we can move forward, right? So that happens, and yeah. Now, recognizing the warning signs. So how do we know when our ERP system is what it's telling us? Are we ready to move forward? What are the costs of standing still, right? Many companies calculate the upgrade cost. Yes, it's part of it. The consulting and the training, those are fixed costs that you have in an ERP system. But all the manual work that the team members are doing in your factory, the duplicate data entry, are you working with multiple systems? Now, finance department tends to do this. I have noticed and I have seen that the finance department usually have multiple systems where they are updating and duplicating data entry. Spreadsheet reporting. How many spreadsheets are you sending back and forth instead of having a dashboard that has all the information and the multiple variables? Because now the ERP systems have updatable tables inside of them that you can just use it as a pivot table without actually using a spreadsheet. IT maintenance. If you are on-prem, you are paying a whole complete team of to maintain all the infrastructure to have your ERP system moving forward. Now, it eventually will break, and all that maintenance, yes, it needs to be calculated into the cost. Lost productivity, yes. Team members will lose productivity just scrambling to get the data out of the system for all the reporting that needs to be done. Delayed decisions, you don't have the data. You don't have the exact data to make the decision on the spot, and employee frustration, right? Jumping from system to system, doing a bunch of reports instead of just having an updatable dashboard that it will help you to get those decisions and be more effective or efficient, I should say. So some other signs of your ERP may be holding you back. Users export everything to Excel. This is a normal state of a company with an outdated system. Reports take too long. Integrations are difficult. This is a key one, guys. If you have an outdated ERP system and you want to put any new third-party software that will integrate, and this third-party software could be anything from shipping software, any CRM, right, customer relationships management software that you want to integrate, any other ADP software for finance, or just imagine any other software that you want to use. It will be very difficult to accommodate for an old database, right? The customizations keep increasing. It's very expensive to be paying for programming for an outdated system. This happens a lot, and it's one of the bigger costs of maintaining an old system. Keep customizing and keep maintaining it. Upgrades feel impossible. Yes, if you have you will not find programmers, and you will not find anybody to help you to do an upgrade with that system. Remote work is difficult. Yes, if you cannot access through a SaaS environment, if you don't have a web access, that will be extremely difficult. And IT spends more time maintaining than improving. This just goes hand in hand with the maintaining an old database. Business units buy separate software. Let's say that you or your company are working in an M&A project or mergers and acquisitions. This is something that we are experiencing right now with an implementation. They are growing, and they purchase 3 companies. All 3 companies that have multiple ERP systems. Now they need to bring everybody into Epicor, and this is everybody using multiple systems. Just imagine the finance department is using 6 different software that to actually maintain all the other companies. So this is a real challenge. And security concerns continue growing. Yes, your system may be hacked, of course. There's always that risk. But if you don't have a backup in the cloud, it will be a little bit more difficult for this to recoup if somebody destroys your environment if you're on-prem. But now, is there any questions so far, team? Please, let's make this interactive. So if you want, just raise your hand, and of course we can review any question. Now, business risk. So operational risk increases, financial risk decreases, technology risk, of course, and strategy risk. All those are the 4 main risks that we have in our processes of delaying this new environment that we are going to create for our technology. Just so you have it in mind, and can create a business case for the improvement. How do we make the right decision? Upgrade versus replace. So think about this. Which part fits your business, right? Good fit. Do you have a software that is a good fit right now for your company? Plus, it's a modern platform. Then the recommendation is upgrade the system. Just keep upgrading into, if you have 9, go to 10 to 11, right? Bring it to the new environment. If it's a poor fit that you already outgrown your system, and it's an outdated platform, there is no other way. Just the decision will be to replace the system. So this is, and I hope that just looking at this, they will say, okay, this is the right decision for me, or I will just upgrade the system, whatever the case is, right? But this is the point of this slide, for you to easily see and make the decision. So building a business case. So you are going to be the person that is going to come to the board and say, hey, this is what we're going to do, and this is how we are going to justify it. Why? Because it's not a cheap investment, right? It's not a cheap investment. You are going to be spending. Well, depends on each company. I cannot throw a number out there, but it's going to be a considerable. I mean, definitely it's going to be in the hundreds of thousands. So I just don't know how deep or how integrated you are with other third-party softwares. But what is the objective? Yeah, we want to increase revenue, right? We want to make the decision. We want to be more profitable. We want to have and increase our efficiency, of course. We want to reduce our cost. Inventory cost, I can tell you, that's the one that is going to hit first, right? Reduce the cost. Why? Because you're going to have now an MRP process. Probably you don't have it right now. You're going to try to implement a just-in-time system. So reduce your real risk, right? Increase productivity. You are going to have only, and you are going to make only what is in your orders. That's it. Of course, you can have a Kanban system along with a MRP system. They can work in tandem, of course. And Epicor does allow you to do use both of the applications at using at the same time. Scalability, yes. So Epicor now being a SaaS tool, it can integrate now. They are releasing 2 upgrades per year now, one in the summer, one in the fall. And they keep, I like how they are upgrading and offering more features and functions now. Inside, we as a Epicor partner, I see our consulting team always providing new ideas to the system that we all have to vote on. And these ideas come directly from you as customers on what processes do you have that the consultants consider that, hey, this is actually a process that it will be helpful to multiple industries that we are going to submit it as an idea for Epicor to add it and not as a customized system, right? Because at the moment that they are looking at, it's already a customized system, right? They are already looking for a customization, which of course is more expensive. But Epicor always gets those ideas and turns them into just a practical function that it will be an add-on, right? Scalability. So yes, you will be able to integrate to multiple CRM systems, to other softwares, and everybody's going up at the same time. Innovation. Epicor is innovating in the manufacturing industry. I can see it every day. They are making it easier and easier to release production, right? To release the jobs to production, the shipments, management inventory, using the other tools that integrates, and now with applications. I mean, it's being or having the opportunity to look at Epicor since Vantage, or the version that is called 8.3 until now. I mean, it's a night and day difference, right? And it's a great system. So show ROI instead of features. Yes, when you communicate with your board, don't say, "Oh, we are going to use scheduling," or "We are going to use CRM." No. It's actually what is the ROI based on the multiple variables that we talked about, and let's put a number into it. Of course, this is going to be a rough number, but eventually you will be able to get it narrower and narrower until you reach a number that is actually real, to get an ROI of either 5 years or whatever your standard is inside of your company. Could be 10 years, 5 years, or whatever that amount is, even 3 years. When is the right time for your upgrade? So rapid growth. Mergers and acquisitions, you get a new company, you need to grow fast, right? Now if your current ERP system does not allow the use of multi companies and multi sites, yes, that's a problem. I can tell you that, right? Expansion, you need now multiple sites. You need to have each site handling a complete different MRP, right? Cloud strategy is your system. Can your system support being on the cloud? In this case, Epicor uses Microsoft Azure for cloud and end of support, right? That's the case that I talked about earlier. This company, they are going to lose their support December 31st, and they need to move fast. Of course, you don't want to be in that position, but hey, sometimes it just happen. And of course, what is right now currently, the hot thing, AI initiatives. Is your system being integrated with AI? What I have seen is, or what now we have chatbots inside of our system, right? That help us to do the training or to tell you what are the features and functions that that field or that application does, right? And of course, regulatory requirements that you might have that you cannot comply if you're trying to get an insurance, cyber insurance, which is super important. That pretty much you are not going to comply with the requirements for that to obtain such a thing. So that's why, right? Don't wait until you're forced to do this. Let's just plan it ahead. Right? So creating an ERP modernization roadmap. So what is it that you are going to? First, you have to assess what is your current state. You need to identify, of course, your ERP system, if you have one. If you don't, okay, what are the processes that you have? What is the as-is process? It's super important to know that. What is your as-is process? Then you are going to prioritize. If you are a big corporation, you need to do or separate your implementation into phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, or as many phases as you need. Why? What is it that you cannot live without? Right. That is what we are going to do for phase 1. Right. The most valuable database that we need. We are going to build our business case. Once that we already assess, we already know what processes, then we are going to identify, okay, this is the primary process, then we are going to build our case to build our ROI. Based on that, we are going to get a budget. Right? This is, according to this processes, what modules do we need to have from Epicor that will comply with these processes? Now, we are going to do a demo for you. Right? Every software company needs to do a demo for you to know if, hey, okay, this is, so I ship a product, I build a product, I schedule that product, I put orders. You might not use quotes, but you put orders directly into the system. That happens. That is a real scenario. Some companies use quoting, and those quotes, they turn them into orders. And some other companies, they just put an order directly in the system without ever quoting anything. We're going to create the budget based on those modules, and then we're going to plan it. In the execute section here, that's when you are implementing, right? But look at all the steps that you took before, which takes months, right, to do all that. And the execution, that's when we are going to be updating. So you already, when you're planning it, you purchase the system, then we execute the implementation, which takes between 8 months to a year. and then we start optimizing. Optimizing means getting the system to be you, right? To make it yours, right? The specific processes, training, right? Getting better with the system, and then starting now phase two. Once that you have a modern ERP system, it's like you will not stop anymore. It's just you are going to be upgrading the system. You need to create your testing environment. Any new feature, any function needs to be tested by the super users or the core team members that are going to be participating. And this is the optimization part. And I can tell you, it will never stop. You will continue in this process over and over and over. I mean, you're going to become so good at it that it's just, I have seen team members that become so good at DMT, for example, DMT data migration tool, that they become the gurus on exporting data, updated data, and just making great changes into the system as part of the optimization of it, right? So planning for success. Executive sponsorship. If we want to be successful into getting a real ERP system, we need the executive sponsorship. This is requirement number one. The executive team needs to be on board with this, and everybody needs to know that this is the direction that we are going to take. Because if this is not happening, there's going to be chaos in the project, guys. It happens, and that is not a place that you want to be. I can tell you that. The business ownership or executive sponsorship is extremely important. Now, another process that is extremely important, and I as a project manager, when I start every project, this is one of the first things that we kick it off, right? We kick off the project, the team is assembled, and I said, okay, what is your data strategy? That's the first question that I always ask. Why? Because you're already behind, right? Because data, and I cannot stress this enough, data is one of the most important steps, and it takes months in order for you to clean your data. It's an extremely important process. And to make the decisions of what data you are going to bring into the new ERP system, that is going to take months to do so, right? Are you going to bring historic information? How many years of it are you going to take, right? Are you going to bring transactions? Is it just going to be part numbers? Are you going to change the nomenclature? Is it a one-to-one change of part number? I mean, there are so many variables that you are going to use. And this is just on the operation side. There's a whole different conversation on the financial side, right? The geo accounts, are we going to use the same geo structure that we currently have? Are we going to use a new one, right? How many companies are we going to have? How many sites? Are we going to treat now different transfer orders? Are we going to transfer the product? Are we just going to make inventory? All those decisions are going to come in. Of course, it's a great exercise for everybody to actually understand the business better. But data is such an important part of the business. Process review. You need to understand what is your current your assets process, right? You need to understand your business and how are we going to make that business better, right? What is the to-be process or the future state of the company? How are we going to improve it? User engagement. The team or the core team need to spend, in average, I can tell you they have to spend between 5 to 10 hours a week just dedicated once the implementation starts. You want to be successful, the users need to be engaged and they need to be testing the system constantly, always. They need to be pushing it until, how do you test software? Well, you try to break it. That's exactly what they need to do. They try to do first the as-is process. Yes, does it work? Okay. But what if, right? What if I do this? What if I change it here? What if I start changing it and trying to put a different process into it? Could be result in a good in a better result, right? Of what I have in a better future state. But hey, the users need to test, and I actually love when the guys or the team are telling me, hey, this is I'm getting this error, or this is the result that I'm getting. How do we fix this, right? This is not what I was expecting. Now, change management, we have to, as leaders in the corporation, we have to manage change. Why? Because things are going, once that you put an ERP system, everything changes in the company. And you are going to have some setbacks, and you are going to have team members that will not take change well. It's just part of the process, right? And you need to know what are you going to do? How are you going to convince the team members that, hey, this is the way to go? Training, usually during an implementation, we dedicate 3 weeks of training prior to the go live. And this is for the team members that are not part of the core team. Of course, this is including the people on the shop floor and other team members for multiple departments. We believe that this time is enough, but you can start as soon as possible. And of course, IT governance, right? What are we going to do? How are we going to allow the team members to access our system and move around the system, right? What kind of security are we going to have, and who sees what? There are companies that do not allow anybody to look into any financials. That is a very common security structure or security setup that we do, among others. So lessons learned, right? Strong executive leadership, limited customization. Yes, this is key. We want the team members to first learn to use the new tool before you start requesting features and functions that you had or that you used to do. Something happens in every implementation that the team members at the beginning of the project, they try to make the new system look like the old system. I don't know if you have experienced this with other software that you have implemented, but this is a common thing until somebody comes in, usually as the PM or any executive sponsor, and says, hey, okay, it's like, let's stop with the customizations. First, use the system, learn how to use it, tell me about the future state, and then we start with any other process. Why? Because customizations are highly, there's a lot of cost around it. One is, of course, what it's going to cost you on programming or consulting services to do that. And also the amount of hours that you are going to spend once that you do an upgrade to the system. Remember that you have to be testing every single customization that it works with the new system, right? So twice a year in an Epicor environment, you're going to be testing customizations that they do not break once that it's like any other upgrade. So let's try first to understand the system, and then we start customizing. Business first thinking, absolutely. Does it comply with our future state? Where are we going as a corporation? Standardized processes. So every ERP system has a standardized processes or best practice according to a multiple companies that they have, right? That's how they design the process. Hey, to ship, this is what you need, right? Sometimes you use serial numbers, sometimes you don't, sometimes you use fax slips or whatever the case is, right? If you're shipping to Canada, commercial invoice, or shipping to other any regulatory requirements that you have for Europe, Canada, United States, or Latin America, whatever that is, or Asia. right? Realistic timelines. Yes, we need to find a realistic timeline for our process, for our implementation. We need to identify those business requirements and then create a realistic schedule and continuous improvement. We all once that you have an ERP system, this is what I was talking about. You are not going to stop the optimization process. It's just going to get better and better. And celebrate quick wins. Yes, take your team to celebrate, right? And I don't know, pizza parties, stuff like that, right? That we are all moving forward. Mistakes to avoid. Treating ERP as an IT project is not an IT project. It's managed usually by people from the IT department, but an ERP implementation is not an IT project. The IT part of it is just so if I have to put a department to an ERP implementation, I would say that is operations and finance, right? And being operations a greater section of it, right? So it's not an IT project. So automating broken processes. Yes, if you currently have an outdated system and you want to bring those processes into the new system, let's not do that. Let's understand what is the new state of that process. What is it that they are doing before we start having that temptation of going back and creating processes that are completely outdated. Ignoring change management. No, there's always need to be a gauge here, right? We don't want to do that. Always identify who is blocking the implementation, right? We need to address that quick. Who's fighting it? For data quality, as I said, I was talking about data. Yes, so you are going to bring, let's say, part classes. You are going to bring the part numbers. You are going to bring customers, suppliers. That's the easy stuff. Let's talk about bills of materials, bills of operations, method of manufacturing, new operations that you're going to be creating that you need to put together, right? That's where the real challenge is. It never fails, right? So poor data quality, it's a common mistake, and we need to avoid it at any cost. Insufficient testing, that's this happens, and the main reason is people are busy, right? Their day jobs will not change, and usually ERP implementations are going to happen while everybody's working. Now, will you find an optimal time frame that is good for your business? A lot of people do. A lot of our customers, they are thinking about seasonality in the process, right? That they say, okay, we're going live in December because December is actually quite slow for us, or we are going to do it in March. I mean, so there's a bunch of reasons why you will do this, and testing is and we know, right? And we know when our consultant team goes and sees, and spends some time with the team, you can tell if the team is testing or not, right? We actually can identify that pretty quick. And we get executive sponsorship. No, it's like we want that the employees, they need to see that, hey, this is the way that we are moving forward. Right? And trying to do everything at once. That's the importance of what I was telling you. We have to break what is important. Phase 1, phase 2, phase 3. There's nothing wrong with that, right? Remember, either way, you already have an ERP system. The optimization part is going to come, regardless of if you actually try to implement everything that you have or not. So it's just better to do smaller chunks or the most important ones first. So 5 questions to ask before you decide. Is your ERP still aligned with your business strategy? If it is, hey, upgrade, remember? Maintenance cost increasing each year. This is for the IT team, right? Is it on-prem? You need to have servers. Are you updating those servers that they cost around what, $15,000, something like that? Manual workaround becoming the norm? Yes. Are people working outside of the system now? Everything is doing in Excel spreadsheets. And can your ERP support future growth? Can it integrate to any new modern tools? If we were choosing an ERP today, this is a question for you. Will we choose this version? Will you choose the version that you have right now as your ERP system? Will you say, okay, yeah, this is the system that is good for us right now, right? And with that, team, do you have any questions for me?
Wow, Francisco, that was a lot of great information, a lot of great nuggets in there. Just a reminder, if you do have any questions about anything that Francisco went over, please type that into the Q&A on your control panel. And while we wait see if we have any questions come in, Francisco, if you wouldn't mind transitioning to the next slide.
Yes, ma'am.
Perfect. Thank you. We wanted to highlight 2 of the larger events that we have coming up at the second half of the year. On September 1st, we are hosting our first charity golf classic in Greensboro, North Carolina, benefiting Hands for Hearts. This organization helps children with congenital heart disease or issues. And so we are going to be at Greensboro National in Greensboro, and our team is going to be out there. And so we hope that you will join us. There is more information on our website on the events tab to sign up as an individual player, a foursome, and we also have sponsorship opportunities. So if any of that looks interesting to you, and then if you could please transition to the next slide. Perfect. And then the next day in Greensboro, we have our 3rd annual Manufacturing Excellence Summit. This is a full-day summit here in Greensboro at Revolution Mill, where our office is located. We're going to have a full day of learning, networking, growing, connecting, all the things. So you can scan the QR code there on the screen. That'll take you to all of the speaker and agenda information. We would love to have you come visit Greensboro, join us for both of the events, or either one, playing golf for a good cause, or attending the summit. So lots of great manufacturing events coming up. It doesn't look like we have any questions. Someone said great points to consider throughout the process. So that's great feedback. Thank you. Before we wrap up today, Francisco, was there anything else that you wanted to mention or include?
Well, I will hope that the team, any of the team members that are, present here, come back, and I would love to be your project manager for the implementation. So you can reach us, contact us, and I'll be here waiting to be your PM.
That's great. Thank you, Francisco. Thank you for all this great information. If there's any other questions that you might have or something that pops up after today's webinar, feel free to reach out to us. We'd love to answer your question. You can reach out to myself or Francisco or support at encompass-inc.com. Visit our website. We'd love to talk about where your business is going next and what your goals are. So, and we thank you for your time today. We know it's valuable, And so we hope to see you in person at our upcoming events in September and also on our next virtual event. So we'll see you next time. Thank you.
Thank you.